Hi, I'm Matt Byrne, staff writer with the Portland Press-Herald, and today in the studio we have Jim Weiner and Chuck Foltz, who are here to share their experience from nearly 40 years ago on a canoe trip in the Allagash waterways. They saw, late at night, a bright light in the sky, and years later found that they've recovered memories of an abduction. We're here to discuss their experiences and their lives. This weekend they'll be guests at Experiencers Speak, a conference of like-minded individuals who are gathering in Portland to talk about the things that they know and the things that they've seen. So, welcome Chuck, welcome Jim.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you for being here. I was hoping we could start with, if you could, taking us back to your canoe trip in 1976.
And after working our way across, taking a good 20 minutes to get there, we began fishing. And we'd only been there just maybe about 10 minutes at the most.
Yeah, if that.
And the other guy who was sitting at the back of the canoe said, "What the hell's that?" And we all turned and looked in that direction. And I saw this light at the tops of the trees.
I mean, this thing was big, man. It was as big as a two-story house. It had to be at least 70, 80 feet in diameter.
Yeah.
Were you fearful?
No,
Curious.
not at first. We were
Curious.
very curious at first because it made no noise at all, so there was no threatening hums or whines or anything like that.
And it was moving slowly
It was going
toward
very
us.
slowly, but it had it wasn't a solid. It didn't look like a solid object. It was like it had a fuzzy edge to it. I thought, well, let's try signaling. And Chuck had a flashlight because we were using the flashlight to attract fish.
Sure.
And he immediately ticked off a SOS.
Just out of curiosity.
As soon as he did that, I mean, immediately after he did that, this beam of light came out of the bottom of this thing, and it came right for our canoe. I mean, we lit up like a Roman candle out in the middle of a black lake. So we started paddling, and I mean, we were really going. And I remember looking back at one point to see where this thing was and thinking that it was way behind us, and instead of being way behind us, it was right up there. And then the next thing we remembered, all of a sudden our canoe hit the beach, and we got out of the canoe and we stood there, and it was right in front of us in the water. I remember standing there looking at this thing, thinking that if I had a stone or a fair-sized rock, like maybe an egg-sized rock, I could hit it. That's how close it was. So it's about 30, 40 yards maybe. And there was a beam of light coming out of the bottom of it on the water. It wasn't moving. It was almost as if it was sitting on this beam of light. And then the beam went up into the sky, and it just went whoosh, like that, just like an iris closing.
Well, basically, we knew that it was a UFO, an unidentified flying object.
What were the mutual experiences that you all agreed upon? What were
That there was an abduction. That it wasn't just the fact that we had encountered and seen an object in the night sky that I shined a flashlight at.
under the control of
These beings.
whoever they were, whatever they were? What did they do?
They treated us, we liken it as if you or I were animal behaviorists and we went to the North Pole and darted a polar bear, and we wanted to go out and then measure its teeth and see how its jaws move, take some blood samples, maybe a sperm sample, see how its limbs articulate, what's that orifice, what's this orifice, how does this work? That's how we were treated. And then the next thing I remembered was sitting in this room. It was a room where I could focus clearly directly in front of me, but my peripheral vision was blurred. And my brother was standing maybe 8-10 feet away from me. He was standing and he was naked. And there were these beings, these kind of, they were human shape, but they weren't human. And they had a wand that was maybe 14 inches long. It was thin on one end and had a slight, tiny little bulb on it. And they were like scanning his arms, and they were taking his arms and articulating his wrists and his shoulder, and I kept thinking, my God, they're going to really hurt him if they keep doing this. I remember that thought going through my head.
How long do you believe you were under that control?
Probably 2.5, maybe 3 hours.
Does it bother you when people say that you might be crazy or you might be making it up? Or
Anymore, we've heard it so many times over the years. I mean, number one, we have nothing to gain by this, except public ridicule a lot. But our goal would be to enlighten, inform, and put some type of positive direction on this.